Hello, everyone, and welcome to KAMDI Conversations. I'm your host, Tanya Hawley, and I'm so excited once again to be with you today. And this is a very special night because I have a very special lady who I just adore, and I haven't seen her in a while, so we're playing catch up. So I am so excited to have her here. We're just going to go ahead and jump right in. Please join me and welcome me two-time Grammy winner, Miss Ann Nesby.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, Ann. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here and finally get to see you face to face.
Yes, well, you got to come back to Atlanta for that.
Right,
Yes.
right. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes. So
Catching
hopefully very soon I will see you face to face.
up.
So thank you so much for joining me on my show. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying for a
Yes,
minute here.
yes.
You're a busy lady.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
Yes, that is a good thing, right? So
Absolutely. We try to stay busy as possible, trying to catch up.
yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and dive in. If you all have any questions or comments for Ann, go ahead and post them, and I'll be happy to read them to her, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer. Hi, John. John is here. Thanks for joining us. So, Ann, I'm going to start at the beginning, which I always do with my guests, because I love to hear the journey and I love to hear the stories, because I always say this is where stars tell their stories. So, I know you got a few. So, take us back to the beginning of when you first realized you wanted to sing or you first realized you liked music.
Well, I think the beginning for me of understanding and realizing that I really, really love music was in my home because both my parents sang and my father sang in a quartet group, and they would rehearse at the house, and they would have their instruments there, and we always had a piano in the house. And my father, he had a quartet group, and all of his friends, they would always be rehearsing at each other's home, so their wives put together a quartet group, so they formed a group. So we were there, we were just sitting there looking up in their faces and listening to all the music and trying to mess with the instruments whenever they would leave them at the house. And it was actually unavoidable because we had church music all the time, in the youth choir. Whenever the church doors open, it seemed like we were there, and we were always in the choir somewhere because my mother sang lead in the choir. So if she was at church, we were definitely there with her. So I was about 5 years, well, maybe three, when I first sang my first duet with my father. And I remember that's my first remembrance of singing in public with my father, singing Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho. And the first time I sang by myself was from a chair, singing Have You Got Good Religion,
I
which
love
was
it.
a song that the church really, really sang a lot in the Baptist church. It was a song because I think our understanding of religion was a little bit different from what we realize it is today.
Mm.
And I'd heard my grandmother singing it in the house, and my parents sang it, and I sang that song. But the first time I sang to the point where I was really feeling something was about 5 years old, and I was singing, He's got the whole world in his hand. And when the
Okay.
church starts to respond, and it kind of scared me because I wasn't really accustomed to that and understanding what was going on.
Hmm.
And I say all the time, I thank my mother that she knew how to handle that situation, because I got down from the chair and ran to her in the choir stand, and she said, baby, go back. Go back. They're just saying you're doing good. And they happy. They want you to keep singing. They think you're doing real good. And I
Oh.
say all the time, I think if she had not sent me back to that chair in that moment and let me stay there and be
Mhm.
secure, I wouldn't have the courage to go back every other time and sing. And I had the understanding of what was going on. So that was my first real peak and interest. Um,
Thank God for moms.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think my real um the idea that I wanted to be a professional singer, I was still around that age, maybe 5 or 6, somewhere in there. And my mother took us to the movies to see The Imitation of Life.
Oh, wow.
And
Mahalia
at that
Jackson.
time, yes, yes. And at that time, they had to sit in the balcony.
Oh,
So they were right there on the first row in the balcony, and I was standing up with my arms up on the banister, looking down at the screen and seeing Mahalia Jackson singing.
wow.
And it was just something inspiring about her and her presence and the
Hmm.
power that she sang with.
Oh,
And it's
yes.
one of my mother's favorites. So she played her music in our home. So seeing her on the big screen and recognizing that voice that was played in our home, and my mother sang her songs in the choir. It was something that touched that made me feel like,
Hmm.
when you see things, you have an opportunity to dream if you're
Yes.
exposed to things. And I say that to parents all the time. Expose your children to the arts and culture, and encourage their gifts, and don't stop. Sometimes they get on your nerves with the noise of the music and all those different things, but allow them to experience that and
Mm.
go through it, because you'll be proud one day that you allowed them to beat on those drums and drive you crazy.
Yes, that's so true. So I was going to ask you who your influences were. So I already know it sounds like Mahalia Jackson, definitely.
She was definitely one of the first. And then, of course, my father was a preacher, so he listened to C.L. Franklin, as
Oh,
all those preachers back in the day did, because he was one of the first ministers, to record preaching. And he had Aretha singing on the record with him. So my father would say, listen, listen at her. She helps her father. She helps her father when he's preaching. He said, and that's what I want you to do. And so I was
oh.
definitely inspired by Aretha. So I continued to follow her music, not
Hmm.
only the music she sang in the church, but all the way jazz and um, uh,
Everything.
the blues, everything.
She did it all. Yes.
Absolutely. So she was definitely one of my inspirations, along with Stevie Wonder, Shirley Caesar, Luther Vandross, Patti
Ooh.
LaBelle, of course, and Gladys. I mean, and the list goes on and on. But those were the ones that um, really cultivate Mavis Staples, and I mean gospel singers like Albertina Walker, because she was from Chicago, and I grew up about 30 minutes from Chicago
Okay.
in a very musical church. And at any given moment, any of those gospel singers would be there to sing. Inez Andrews may come through, Albertina Walker,
Oh,
uh,
wow. Okay.
any of those may come, Charles Fall, anybody may stop through. So I was right there in the middle of all the music, right there in the Chicago area. So I got a little bit of that win as well.
Very good. So tell me how the Sounds of Blackness came about.
The Sounds of Blackness was a Black student union group that decided to form a choir because they were at McAllister College in St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Hmm.
Russell Knighton, who was the founder, started the group. And Minneapolis, well, St. Paul, Minnesota, for African American people at that time was um, so few African American people that were there at the college and well in the town,
Mm-hmm.
and they were looking for a social life. And when that Black Student Union Choir came about,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was buzzing about it, and it was a place where they could meet and greet and come together, and of course, be tribal and cultural. So as that group began to grow, and Gary Hines came in, and he was an African American studies student,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, a musician, a music conductor. He came in and started doing the music and teaching the group, being the director. And when people started coming in and started graduating, they didn't want to leave the group from the
Okay.
college. So they moved it to a community center, which was Sabathani. And it was like the performing arts where Prince went to school in elementary school, and they made it into a community center in the community. Sounds of Blackness would stay there for years and years. My sister had been a part of Sounds of Blackness for 10 years before I came in,
Okay.
singing lead with on uh, Sounds of Blackness would be say the opening choir for community banquets or the city banquets, and then Flight Time would be the party band afterwards.
Oh, okay. So, Ann, how did you get there? You said you were in Chicago, so how'd you end up there?
My sister went to college in Minneapolis, and you know how your parents tell you, you find a church that
Mm-hmm.
can watch over you while you're there. It
Right.
just so happened she went to the church that Gary Hines was a part of, that
Okay.
choir. And when she joined the church and she joined the choir, he found out she could sing. He invited her to come join Sounds of Blackness. And she stayed in Minneapolis. She never came back home. She stayed in Minneapolis, became a part of Sounds of Blackness when Sounds of Blackness was doing competitions and all over the country, choir competitions and working. As you know, when I got to Sounds of Blackness, they were celebrating their 20th year anniversary.
Okay.
But Sounds of Blackness is also a theatrical company, and I came into Sounds of Blackness in theater because I had just finished a run off Broadway with Donald Lawrence
Okay.
doing
It was after that. Okay.
Hallelujah, and Sounds of Blackness Gary needed someone to do a mother role in the Christmas play
Okay. I didn't. Oh,
that
that's
he won
interesting.
the Grammy for. And I came in, I did the mother's role, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came to the show. And actually, they were there. They came every year because they brought their families. It was kind of like a community thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Sounds of Blackness did anything, and um, I got a chance to meet Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis at that time, and I had not joined the group yet. So after that, I just came there just for that Christmas show and ended up staying there until Valentine's Day because they offered me another position. They did music for Martin, which was another theatrical piece that Sounds of Blackness did. And that was when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis brought Janet to the show and
Okay. Janet, as in.
recording Janet Jackson.
Yes. I just wanted you to say that so everybody would know
Yes,
who you're referring to. Yes.
she was in the studio, and to get her away from the monotony of
Mm-hmm.
bored, just burn out in the studio, some excitement. And when they brought her to the show, Terry was and Jimmy was like, she was just telling them, you guys, you gotta in their process of
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to do the record company, a Perspective Records, they they were talking to Janet, and she said, guys, you got to do this because there's nothing like this out there. And this is
Mm.
the right time for this. cultural awareness and the awareness of owning our music and educating about African American music and where it begins. Um, there were so many others claiming the rights to um, the West African rhythms in our music, and she felt like this would be a great thing, and that's how um, I got involved with Sounds of Blackness. They offered me an opportunity to do the lead on the first project, Africa to America, and that was my beginning with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
And I have that CD. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So thank you for sharing. That was very interesting. And
Yeah.
Janet obviously heard you sing too at
Yes,
this
she
event.
did, and she would be in one studio, and Sounds of Blackness would be in another studio. Um,
Hmm.
who else? Low Key, Stokely, and their band would be in another area rehearsing in the studio recording. So it was like a family kind of boutique kind of
Hmm.
place. Sort of, it put you in the mind of
Right.
Motown, and all those other boutique labels that everybody was family. Everybody sang on everybody's record and wrote on everybody's
Right.
project. So it was a great learning time for me, and it gave me an opportunity to write that I never um, even imagined I would be doing. Have an opportunity to write and to be a part of the writing team with Flight Time,
Hmm.
to write for Sounds of Blackness. I had an opportunity to write for Sounds of Blackness. They gave me and opened the door for me to write for Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight, and it gave me an opportunity to have Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who were world class producers, artists themselves, and now record company owners. It
Right.
gave me an opportunity to be educated uh, by them with their experience from their past in all those lanes.
Hmm.
And it opened the door for me to be able to um, garner collateral to prepare for my project as a solo artist.
Wow. So two questions, Ann. First one, well, I mean, I have a lot more, but
Mhm.
related to what you just said. What was it like working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis?
It was a dream because I never imagined upon getting there that I would have that type of opportunity. But being in the right place at the right time and following God's lead and being obedient, uh,
Mm.
and
Man.
thinking I like to call it that Abrahamic move. Um, After they offered me that opportunity, I moved my family to Minneapolis and started over,
Mm.
and went was I was just like a studio rat, and I just put my head down and worked, and I just absorbed so many things. Every opportunity I had to be there, I was there, and I was not I was not afraid to work, and um, everything that I could do, I did. Everything they asked me to do, I never had I never had any objection to learning anything, and I think working with artists, you appreciate a person that wants to be a sponge and want to learn. It causes you to want to teach them more and give them more to learn. And I appreciated that opportunity, so I didn't want it to go to
Mm.
waste. So I got everything I could.
Wonderful. And and you state your claim because we know Ann Nesby's voice. So from there on forward, we knew your voice. Now you mentioned plays. How did you get started in the plays? Because obviously you're an actress as well, and you've done a lot of musicals, and you continue. And we'll talk about the what's going on now a little bit later. But
Yes.
tell me how do you like that? How'd you get into that? Do you still enjoy that?
Theater is my second love. Uh,
Okay.
my first opportunity to do theater came with Donald Lawrence,
Okay. Yes.
who I had been a part of the James Cleveland Gospel Music Workshop of America, which is in Atlanta. Last week, I think. Um,
Mhm.
I was able to, Reverend Cleveland allowed me an opportunity to lead on several projects in his workshop. I sang one of Donald's songs. And upon returning home, he called and requested to see if I would want to do a theatrical play that he was doing in Cincinnati, the Playhouse in the Round in Cincinnati. And we were there doing the show Sing Hallelujah. And one of the scouts from Broadway came in to see another play, and they came to a matinee to the show that we were doing and offered us the opportunity to come. And after that, I came in, and actually, I came in to that first time doing theater with Donald
Okay.
with no prior knowledge of professional theater. Um, and I worked with Donald and director Worth Gardner, and they just taught me so many things. I was just green, and I came in and absorbed there. I got everything that I could there, and from there, I went straight to Sounds of Blackness to do the mother's role in the night
Okay.
of Christmas.
So it just kept coming after that. It sounds like.
Rolling, I released my solo project and got a call from Tyler in Atlanta. I came to Atlanta and I was on the radio and got a call on the radio from Tyler asking if I would want to participate in a show that he was doing. And he came to, uh, Tyler Perry came to the radio station and brought me the script, and we became fast friends from that point. Um,
Wonderful.
Doing, I know I've been changed. We were
Okay.
supposed to do a show, I think a couple nights, and we ended up doing a couple years with that tour. So that was another lessons learned, directed by Tyler and the cast there. And
Wow, that is wonderful. And you have had a very busy career. I mean, we haven't even gotten to half my questions, but the stories are awesome. I'm going to read a few comments over here. Everyone's saying good evening. Hi, Yvonne is here. She's saying good blessed evening to you.
God bless you, Yvonne.
E Grooves Old School Music, and that's the title. That's his
Yes,
name. So, he
yes.
says, and thank you so much for Testify, Optimistic, and Joy soundtrack as a teenage girl. And
Oh, wow.
then he also says, I also enjoy Mo Money soundtrack. I've been collecting funk and soul for 30 plus years. Okay.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, and thank you all for joining us. So, and I'm going to ask you this. I don't know if you can even choose one, but what is your favorite Sounds of Blackness song?
Wow, that's a hard
I
question.
know I wouldn't want anyone to ask me that, but I thought I'd ask you.
Because the work is also near and dear to my heart. But I'm like so many others, optimistic. Optimistic is definitely um, one of my favorites because it was our first single,
Yes.
and to hear optimistic playing on the radio um, in Minneapolis on local radio, and the
Yes.
phone buzzing and everybody, all the group members calling each other, and everybody all ablaze. And getting to rehearsal that night and everybody all excited and crying. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And you can't trade that for anything. That your first baby. That's why
And do you remember your first time hearing it on the radio, where you were and
I
how you felt?
absolutely
Tell us
do.
about it.
I was in my apartment in Minneapolis, and I was actually ironing, getting ready to go to rehearsal, and the local radio station started to play it, and I was, as a matter of fact, we were just watching um, BET, and they were celebrating Aretha's birthday,
Ah,
and then the song came on the radio while that show was on. So it was really um,
oh
a
yeah.
parallel for me, like a round circle moment. Uh,
Yes.
in that one of my favorites I'm watching on TV, and then my life starting to blossom towards my dream.
Mhm.
So it was really, really a highlight.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I always like to ask that question because that's monumental for a lot of people, hearing yourself
Yes,
on the radio for the first time.
yes, it is.
Was that an aha moment that, or when did you have an aha moment when you finally thought to yourself, I made it? I finally made it. I don't know if that was it, but throughout your career, was there a moment where you felt like, I finally did it?
I don't know. I don't know if I've had that moment yet.
Oh, Ann, okay. You should have had a long time ago. I'm just saying. That's
Oh,
so funny.
I don't know if I've had that moment yet.
Oh, that just shows
I
your
don't know what I
humility.
have to do to have that moment, but I know that I'm appreciative to a whole bunch of moments. I can tell you some highlighted moments that brought joy to my life that I will never ever forget. One being at the top of my list, when um, Luther Vandross called for Sounds of Blackness to go on tour with him, having first heard Optimistic. We were singing on Jay Leno, and
Mm,
he had his company to call and say, "I want that group to tour with me on Power of Love. I want them to sing that song, and I want them to sing The Pressure." And having been a Luther Vandross fan
yes.
as long as I could ever remember, and for our first tour with one song out the box to
Wow.
start at the top. They say you have to pay your dues and work your way to
Yes.
the top, but God really blessed us to go on one of the top tours in the country and to win a Grammy with everybody that was on that tour. Luther won a Grammy that year. Lisa Fisher
Oh,
won a
yes. That was
Grammy,
that year. Yes.
and Sounds of Blackness won the Grammy for Optimistic. Um, and it was a tie with Lisa and
I
Patty.
and Patty the Bear. I remember that.
So Patty, one of my favorites, Luther, Sounds of Blackness, all in the room, winning.
Oh,
It was a highlight of my life. And
yes.
Luther introduced me to Aretha Franklin in the rehearsal that day. So, I
Oh,
mean, I don't know how to top that one. It is definitely a highlight in my life.
I don't think you can, Ann. I often ask the question, what are some of your fondest memories? And I think you just gave them to us. Oh, wow.
Yes, that
Wow. That's all I
was
can
my
say.
favorite.
That was a great year. What year was that, Ann?
That was, I believe, 92, I believe.
Oh, that was the early 90s. Yes. Okay.
Early 90s.
Well, let's go ahead and bring in DJ Doc so we can hear some of your music with the KAMDI Mini Mix. There he is. Welcome, DJ Doc.
Hello, how you doing?
DJ.
And
For joining us.
it's a pleasure to be here with you. It's a pleasure to
Well,
be here.
thank you. My pleasure.
Yes.
So for those of you that don't know who are joining us, it is time for the KAMDI Mini Mix, where we are going to hear some of Miss Ann's music. If you recognize it, feel free to type the name in the chat section and post, see how much you know. And I'm going to hand it over to DJ Doc.
Yes, we have Ann Nesby, and we're going to rock a few of her songs right here. So let me know if you know these songs.
DJ Doc. Go. Social media at Andre Doc Williams. Heartache and pain. Trying to find the answer. I've been rocking my brain. And I'm all about it. I'm clear. Get my life together. Go from here. Don't need asking where I've been. Just ask me where I'm going.
Hey, yeah.
Gotta tie down all those loose ends. Make sure everything is complete.
Check it out.
Don't let me down.
Never, never.
Yes. Doc, you could turn it up a little.
I'm a little old-fashioned, the way it is with me.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yes, that was a highlight.
If it means that
Oh, that's a beautiful song.
We have all the hits.
All right.
you know I will. And if it means that I have to sacrifice to make things right.
Doc, I need you to turn it up.
I'll be by your Gave the best of mine. We couldn't get it
Let's
right.
sing them.
You mistreated me, baby, and you stayed out late at night. Yeah. You left me so cold, they didn't have what to. Now that we are through, I'm doing
Oh, teasing us.
and I don't know what to say, but I was very wrong.
Oh, you got it wrong.
Treated you that way. Should have known better, baby, than to stay out all night long and not even have the decency to call you.
Thank you, DJ Doc.
Yes, thank you.
That was awesome. We have to make sure it's up a little louder next time. I had people saying they couldn't really hear it.
Okay.
But it was great. I heard it, and you just teased us. That's what you just did.
That's all you get is a teaser. That's all you get is a teaser. You have to catch her live to get the rest.
Okay, you're right. That's absolutely right.
Well,
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here, Doc. Tell everybody where they can follow you and hear you at.
AndreDocWilliams.com. All social media, AndreDocWilliams.com. Everything, Andre Doc Williams. Just look for Andre Doc Williams.
Andre Doc Williams.
Yes. On everything.
All right. Great job. Thank you so much, Doc. We will see you next time.
All right. Love you. Love your music. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doc. All right. All right. That just really teased me. So now I'm going to go pull it all out and play it for myself. You guys go online, download it. You can find Finance Music. Go listen to it because he just teased you a whole lot. Uh, and songs that you may have forgotten about. It's been a little while.
Yes, yes,
Still
because
some of my
I have
favorites.
followers too.
Yeah.
So I have music followers as well.
Yes, yes.
And
So let me see. Thank you. Oh, Yvonne, Yvonne says she was telling thank you for saying hello to her. You and Patty look so much alike. You are beautiful.
thank you, thank you. I always hear that, and I've even heard her say that. Um, Working together with her, and she would say, she said, "I'm always so happy to see you." She said, "But sometimes it makes me sad." She said, "Because you look so much like my family." And
Oh,
I when I look at her and I see her and our faces are so full, we're it's just alike, and I just love her spirit and just the way she comes across, and it's just how her warmth and what she's given us. I mean, I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to spend time and to learn and glean from her.
hmm. Well, I would tell you the funny story is, I did your promo. That your picture is fierce. I love that
Oh,
picture of
thank
you. It's
you.
beautiful. And I had someone call me and say, "Oh, you're doing an interview with Patty." I'm like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "You didn't read that flyer, did you?" And I said,
That's
"That's
funny.
not Patty." And then I looked, I said, "Well, she does kind of favor Patty." I didn't, I know you, so, I didn't
Yes.
think about it. But as I started looking, I said, "Yeah, you guys do resemble." But
Wow, that's amazing.
I said, "That's Ann."
Yeah,
But anyway, I thought that was the funniest thing. But thank you for all the music you've given us over the years.
thank
It's
you, thank
truly been just wonderful. Oh, that Yvonne's talking about, yes, her homegirl, her Philadelphia girl.
you.
So, Ann, I want to ask you, you sang gospel. You started out in gospel, and then you made the
Yes.
transition to your solo career.
Mhm.
Was it hard going to first a solo career, and then secondly transitioning from gospel to R&B and other genres of music?
Absolutely not, because the music that I wrote and the music that I choose, um, I sing songs of love and relationship, spirituality, and about our emotional
Mhm.
well-being. And when I write, I try to write about real issues that I've had or that I see someone else going through, and try to, before that song is done, at least offer some suggestion or some solution to whatever the problem in that song that
Mhm.
I present. Whereas, that if we're not being phony people and honest with ourselves, we don't get romantic to Jesus Keep Me Near the Cross. And we need songs. How many babies have been made to Luther Vandross?
Yes.
That type of music that puts you in the mood and expresses your love for your mate.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of music I try to steer clear of derogatory music.
Yes.
But love is love, and there's no way to separate love. I believe that um, Jesus went where the need was, and the gift, when He gives us a gift, is not meant to pick and choose where our gift goes, uh,
Mm.
but it's meant to bless the hearts of those that receive it. And if there's a way to lift their spirits and to allow them to be drawn to the spirit that's in you, then God will give increase to whatever He wants for them,
Mhm.
or wants them to draw from the gift that and the word that He's given put in you to give.
Oh, beautifully said. Thank you for that, Ann.
Mhm.
Now, did you catch any flack from anyone in the church or your church from transitioning?
Oh, absolutely. Those that were um, really not uh, that were really being dumb deep, I call it.
Say,
Uh,
what was that word again, Ann?
Sometimes people are dumb deep.
That's
They,
what I thought you said. Okay,
and
dumb deep. I like
sometimes,
that.
yeah, sometimes they're so heaven bound, they're no earthly good.
Yes,
And
yes, I've heard that.
I mean, and you're of this world, but you're not in the world, you
Hmm.
know. And I mean, you're living a life, living your life, and you experience things, you in relationships, and you deal with other people every day. You go to jobs that are not church. They pay you to come work, um, and you don't turn them checks down. When you
That's right.
don't
That's
turn them secular checks down, um,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
you have to pick and choose. You have the right to choose what you want, and to it depends on how what what you're able to. What are you able to withstand?
Right.
Where's your faith, and how strong is your faith? If your faith is not enough that it will hold you, um, then don't listen to that music. And if you
The
feel
choice.
like
Yes.
it's not for you, then don't listen to it.
Very
Um,
simple. Right.
Very simple. But I feel like if there's something, a lesson to be taught, um, only a fool despises wisdom. That's what the word says.
Hmm.
And if there's wisdom in a song and it's not derogatory and talking up under people's dresses or calling them out of their names, and it's upbuilding and uplifting, then it's for our edification. And some people don't know how to be in a relationship.
That's
And some of the songs that I've listened to, even growing up, teaches us how to love and how to be gentle and how to
true.
um, treat your mate and what they want. If you think about the songs from the 60s and 70s, a woman needs love just like you do.
Hmm.
Whatever you start, you have to finish. The same thing it took to get your baby hooked is going to take the same thing to keep her. And I see nothing derogatory about that. I think it's a lesson in love. So we have to understand what music is and the lessons that are learned from
Yes. You better preach over there, Ann.
it.
So, Ann, you have quite the musical family. Now, you just told me about your parents, and
Yes.
then you mentioned your sister who
Uh-huh.
sings. So now let's talk about your daughter and your granddaughter.
Yes. My firstborn, Jamesia Bennett. She's leading the group Sounds of Blackness, the songs that I did with the group, and the new songs that they've released. She's been the lead on those songs. I think they're gearing up for a new release uh, with the group, and she is now leading the group, and she's very prominent in theater.
Oh,
Uh, Great, great actress in her own right. Um, and she has been in Sounds. She started with Sounds of Blackness. The youngest member to ever join the group. While I was there, because I didn't want to leave her at home when we went on tour. She was 17, and I didn't want to leave a teenager. So I took her on the road with me. And threw her right on in there with the choir. And now she is a part of the leading group, um, with the young. I think it's the young generation of Sounds of Blackness now.
okay. And you just reminded me. Oh, I almost forgot about this song. I saw you in concert. I saw Sounds of Blackness in concert years ago in Cincinnati, Ohio, years ago. And one of my favorite songs, the name escapes me, but you sing it to your daughter. What's the name of the song? You know what I'm talking
Place
about.
in My Heart.
Oh my gosh, Place in My Heart is.
That's one of my other favorites.
Oh my gosh, oh, I forgot to put it on the list for Dr.
Yes,
Play.
yes.
Because if you all don't know Place in My Heart, go listen to it because it touches my heart every time I hear it. One of my favorites of all, and I know you always sing it when you are in concert. You would bring your daughter, and you would always sing that to your daughter. Was it written for her with her in mind?
It was absolutely written for her. We had gotten her a deal with Mercury Records, and she was getting ready to leave to go to New York to begin her recording for her first project. And Sounds of Blackness was in the process of recording the second project, the second CD.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry was asking us if we had any songs that we felt like could be a part of this project. And I told him, actually, Big Jim and I were working on this the song that was a ballad, and I told him the premise of the song. He said, okay, come in, I want to hear that. And he said, okay, well, I like that you teach the choir, that one, and you will record that.
Beautiful song. Oh, it's one of my favorites. So, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Okay, now I'm gonna have to go listen to it because I haven't heard it.
It's amazing that that song. You'd think more women loved it, but amazingly, there are more men that stop me and tell me how much that song
Hmm.
touched their hearts
Really? Okay.
with their mothers. Yes, yes.
That's interesting.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we talked about your daughter whose voice is amazing. But let's talk about that granddaughter of yours.
Yes, her daughter.
Yes.
My daughter Jamesia has a daughter, Miss Paris Bennett.
Yes.
And of course, everyone probably remembers her from the fifth season of American Idol. She went to number 5, and a singer in her own right.
Absolutely.
And I was so proud of the opportunity to be there with her, um, because I
Yes.
wanted her to make it on her own and
Yes.
be able to understand that this business is not just jump in to have somebody just to walk you in the door, but I wanted her to go through, everything that all the other young people were going through and auditions and everything, because I wanted her to have a good work ethic, and I didn't want her to feel as though everything was going to be given to her on a silver platter, and that this business is hurry up and wait. And there were some moments where you would not even want to get up out of the bed at 5 o'clock to be at a radio station at 7 for
Right.
the interviews, and all that plays a part in who the artist is. So I wanted her to have that opportunity, and she handled herself like a little pro. I was very, very proud of
She
her.
killed it. I was rooting for her and voting for her. She killed it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I actually went and watched that her audition video when I was preparing for your interview. I went and that came up, and I watched it, and I was almost in tears because I could just feel the love and the excitement and the sincerity of how she was feeling when
Yes.
she auditioned and when she came
Mhm.
out, and you both were crying. She couldn't
Yes.
speak, and you just hugged her. It was you all just go to YouTube and look it up.
Yes. I was so proud of her.
I could tell. I could feel the love. I
Mhm.
could feel your
Mhm. And I
pride.
was proud because she did that. It was her achievement,
Yes, yes,
and not on my name.
right.
Mhm.
And I felt that. I knew that was what it was. That this
Yes.
is something she did by her. Only she could do it. Nobody else could do it for her. She auditioned. She made it. She got that ticket to go to Hollywood on her own.
Absolutely.
So
And
I thought that was
have
just
that full joy.
yes. And I remember watching and seeing you in the audience, and I was saying, "Hey, Ann." So kudos to her. Give big props to your whole family, the beautiful
Yes,
musical
thank
family.
you.
You guys
Thank you so
are
much,
just not just sang, y'all sang. All of y'all sang. It's in the blood and the genes. I don't know. Somebody might feel bad in your family if they can't sing. I'm not going to ask, but everybody can't have that talent. So,
Well, we have drummers and musicians, and
that's funny.
they spread it around.
So, Ann, let me ask you this. I only have a little bit of time left.
Okay.
So, who's on your playlist right now? Who are you listening to?
Let's see. I'm listening to Tina Turner every day right now.
Yes,
But
we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
absolutely. But I on my playlist I listen to I love uh so Silk Sonic.
Ah,
I like
yes.
that. That's what I like. That's my song. That's what I like. I like that
Okay.
song. Let's see, Adele.
Oh,
Um,
deal too. Okay.
I love Adele, and I love so many new artists that I don't. Ellie Mae, I like her.
Okay.
I like her voice, and so many. PJ Morton,
Okay.
I love PJ. So many. I mean,
Okay.
so many young artists. Of course, I love Beyonce. Um, I don't want to call out artists that I really listen to, and then I don't say their names. But
No, it's okay. I just wanted to get a feel for who you listen to.
right,
Interesting.
well, I have a mix of people,
Okay.
and then, of course, I still listen to old school a lot, gospel music,
Okay.
old school gospel music. I still listen to that old music, and I like James Moore. Every night I love just to hear him. Missing them, Daryl Coley, those people that I really miss. Listening to them, I play Yolanda a lot.
Okay.
Um,
Do you listen to yourself, Ann?
if I'm working,
Okay. I was just curious. Okay. Well, let's not keep teasing everybody. I keep saying we'll save that to later. Let's find out what are you up to now. Tell us what you're doing now. What's going on?
well, right now I am embarking on a 30-city tour. Um, the Broadway Tina Turner musical, and I will be on tour until September. Well, actually, until let's see, September 2023. I'll be
Wow.
doing that. And I just wrapped um, on the season 7 of Queen Sugar.
Okay.
Um,
Busy lady.
I thank God for every busy moment, every busy moment.
That's
I also shot an episode for the show Atlanta that will
okay.
be shown this fall. Let's see.
And I
Uh,
have the flyer on screen for everyone to see. It is the Tina Turner musical that Ann was referring to. And when does it kick off?
it kicks off. Let's see.
I
I,
don't. I didn't have that flyer, but when
I
actually,
think I
I,
think it starts September.
I've got the flyer here. Let me look.
It's September, I'm sure.
Okay. So coming to yes, September. I have it right here. September 13th in
Yeah.
Providence, Rhode Island,
Uh-huh.
and they will be making their rounds around the country. So make
Mhm.
sure you catch it, everybody, in a city near you. Um,
And they are, it is action packed with some great, great new artists that are going to um, be up and coming, and you can get a fresh look because they are going to blow the music industry.
Mm, wonderful. I can't wait.
Yes.
Alan Shell, hello. God, she just said God evening to us. There's some people joining us.
Oh, wonderful.
Will it be in the Memphis area? Yes, it will, Alan Shell. I actually am looking now, and it says it will be in Memphis February 14th. Oh, Valentine's, February 14th through February 19th. It will be in Memphis. And a lot of other places as well. I know there's some people here on here from the DC area. It's going to be there in October. Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore, Philly, Charlotte, Orlando, Tampa, Minneapolis, Hartford, Pittsburgh, East Lansing, Cleveland, Des Moines, Iowa, Salt Lake City, LA, San Diego, San Francisco, and San Jose. And did I not see Atlanta on here?
Atlanta in February.
Okay, it's just not on here. Oh, I skipped it. It is on here. I didn't. I knew you told me it's going to be in Atlanta.
I'll
Okay.
see you then, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm coming. My husband already asked me
Yes.
about the ticket. So anyway, thank you for that. So you all make sure you check Ann out, coming to a city near you. This is going to be a phenomenal, I know, musical. And I haven't seen you in a while, so I can't wait to see it. But if you all haven't seen Ann, go see it. That voice is amazing. Amazing. So in closing, Ann, I always ask this question. Last question, I promise. Maybe. Maybe it's the last question. But if you could leave a word of advice to artists that are striving to, do this business, aspiring artists, I guess I would say, what would you tell them? What would it be?
Pray and depend on God. Follow your heart and don't be afraid to be the first. If God, whatever God tells you to do, beat the Nike slogan to doing it. Just do it. And you have to, if anything worth having is you have to work for it. You have to work for it and don't expect everybody else to give it to you. Work for it. Put together a package that is tangible, that put a portfolio together, put yourself together, um, get an education and all that gettings, get an understanding of what you're getting yourself into, even as far as your contracts, your education, and knowing what you're going after and what it entails and what you will have to do. You can Google everything now, but get your balance. Have a balance your life, um, and don't just everything there. Learn how to manage your money, manage your spiritual life, your relationships with family, because you can make all the money in the world if you don't have anybody to share it with. You can be very lonely at the top and you don't have any support.
That's good.
So are things that I would definitely say. And if you want it, there's no limits. There are no limits. If you believe it, if you can see it, if you can see it, and if you can believe it, receive it, you can do it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ann.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining us, and tell everyone where they can follow you, find you, download.
Oh, wonderful. My website is www.annnesby.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Ann Nesby. YouTube, Miss Ann TV. So I'm all over.
Yes, you are. So please, everybody, support Ann. Follow her, download her music, go see her in the plays, watch her on television, go to her concerts. Support Ann Nesby, everybody, and all of our artists. That's why they're here. And thank you so much, Ann, for blessing me with your presence. I truly
blessing.
So happy to be here. Now, don't go anywhere quite yet, because I want to talk to you after this. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Be sure you subscribe. Oh, Ann, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you to the fans that have supported throughout the years, and to the new fans coming. I love you, and I'm looking forward to sharing my gift with you.
Thank you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys, the KAMDI Group, and also follow me on Facebook, like my page, and we will see you next week where we have Shirley Murdoch coming to see us. See you next week.
That's my girl. Thank you for doing such a great interview, Tanya. God bless.
Oh, Ann, thank you. And come back and see me.
I will. I will.
Okay.